Why don't we take a few moments to investigate how we can use patterns to try and figure out what's going on with this particular question and how we can solve it. The question states, what is the sum of the first 100 even numbers? Our first step is going to be to try and break this down into smaller, more manageable chunks. So why don't we take a look at the first 10 numbers? And those even numbers would be 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So if we take those numbers and we add all of them up together, we find that we end up with 30. Now our next step is going to be to take a look at the second chunk, so a second smaller chunk. If we take a look at the next grouping of 10 numbers, we have 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. If we add all of those numbers up, we find that we end up with 80. So let's take a look at the values that we've ended up with when we added all these numbers up. So first we have 30, and then we have 80. And if we take a look at the difference between them, we find that there's 50, but we need more information before we can decide if there's a pattern here. So let's take a look at the next grouping of 10 numbers. We have 22, 24, 26, 28, and 30. If we add all of those numbers up together, we find that we get 130. So once again, let's take a look at the difference between how much we ended up when we added up that second grouping of 10 versus this now third grouping of 10. So the difference between 80 and 130. And funny enough, we end up that we also have a difference of 50. So I'd say that maybe we might have found a pattern here. And so now that we found a bit of a pattern, can we use that pattern to help us to solve the problem, to find out what the sum of the first 100 even numbers is?